Hello everyone, I'm here with Matshidiso and we're going to catch up about her work and particularly her new release. Matshidiso, great to see you.
Nice to see you, Johnny. Thanks for having me.
Well, absolute pleasure. Why don't you introduce yourself to the good people on our Sputnik Instagram?
Hi, I'm Matshidiso. I'm a musician. Excuse all the mess. This is where I work. This is where I write my songs. I'm a musician. I also podcast. I teach. I compose. I do kind of everything music related. So yeah, that's what I do. But I also actually did train as a human rights lawyer. But yeah, I'm a musician. That's my day job.
I love the way you just throw that in. Oh yeah, I trained as a human rights lawyer. We might come back to that in a minute. We were just talking a moment ago about the deep well that is Matshidiso, all the things that you do that I certainly have not plumbed yet, and look forward to hearing more of in the future. But as regards your work in music, could you kind of give us a little bit of a flavour of how that started, where you're up to, a bit of your back catalogue and things like that?
Sure. So. When I started the piano at the age of I think 6 or 7. And I was learning classical music. I went to music school, but I studied law at university. And during my undergrad degree, I hated it so much, I started writing songs. So that's actually how I started songwriting. But I kind of couldn't envisage studying music at university. I don't know why, but I did all the law stuff and then was like, no, I'm definitely a musician. And then I would do backing vocals for people, tour with other people. Then I started actually other people need to hear my songs. So I have loads and loads and loads of songs that nobody's heard, just writing in the privacy of my room kind of thing. And then I think I wanted to do an EP and I don't even know for whatever reason, but I wanted to do an EP that was adapted nursery rhymes, but for grown-ups. And so nice. I did that, called Nursery Rhymes for Grown Folks. I think I did that in 2012. And I had gigs in my living room because I was too scared to do it on the big stage. So we would literally clear out this room, move the piano, and then have do gigs in the living room. 50 of us, we took the door off the hinges, 50 of us squashed in here. And then, it just went on from there. Then I started my own record label and release some other stuff, just some sort of piano and vocal stuff. And I'm in the process of making my record. That's literally what I'm doing right now. We're nearly there. I mean, I say we're nearly there every single time, but we really are nearly there. But before that, I was in South Africa. I'm half South African. I have dual citizenship, and I was there in 2019, and I was making these dance music videos, which we're in the process of finishing. Well, we've done 1 of 3, and you lovely guys at Sputnik gave me a grant to help record that, so thank you very much. So we've mixed and mastered this one particular song, and we're about to edit the video for it. It's kind of like a short film that was shot in South Africa with South African dancers. This we're starting now, so that's the first thing. This trilogy of dance things, and then we're finishing the record and probably release it next year. So that's where I am musically.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, it's great always to catch up with artists of faith, is what we do. How would you, with your faith and your art interacting, how do you see that working? Is that a thing that happens very much in the background or an intentional thing? How does that work for you? Oh,
it's everything. It's how I do everything. Jesus is my reason, right? He's the reason I live and breathe, and he is my best friend. So I make music through that prism. I don't think you can separate, those things. Yeah. So, my heart is that people will experience the love of God through this music, I think, there's that great scripture. I was thinking about it the other day, and God was just speaking to me through the scripture, worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. And he is so beautiful. And that's why everyone gasps at sunsets and mountains and the sea. And so I just think my desire is to create a space where his beauty in some way is seen through my music, and people get to encounter him through it. So yeah, it's the core of everything I do. It's my reason,
Yeah, wow, it's amazing. I guess, but part of the overlap is also with your training as a human rights lawyer. Didn't enjoy the course fully in that way, but that's the social justice angle flows through your work a lot. Is there anything you could unpack about that and how that you marry those two things in your work?
Oh, so I think what, on reflection, this is like, hindsight, as they say, 2020. The reason I think I studied law for multiple reasons, but the core of it is I have a passion for social justice. I come from a family of activists. I was going on marches when I was a kid. And so social justice is an essential part of who I am. And I think, part of what I do is to use creativity to support justice initiatives. So I've done stuff in youth offenders prisons. And I guess there is like some of my songs have underneath it a narrative that's justice related, but I think sometimes justice, I actually interviewed some people recently on my podcast all about this sort of how beauty, art and justice work together. And one of the people, in fact you should check him out because he's amazing, he's a Japanese artist, lives in America called Makoto Fujimura, and he has he's amazing, and I've interviewed him twice, and I interviewed him and his wife, and they just talk about how artists can be advocates for justice, and that you can't have justice without beauty. And so I think, for me, my songs, whilst it looks like they don't sort of, justice and music don't work together, but, I don't think as an artist you can not share who you are through your sound. And so because they're my values, I just think it comes out in everything I do. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Any fan of Makoto is welcome here. We pour over his new book. It's particularly fantastic.
The Art and Faith book.
Yeah,
it's great. Well, I interview him sort of around that, and Culture Care is also an incredible book.
Yes,
he's kind of like, he feels like one of those wise people who kind of has put into words things that I've thought about art for years. So
yeah, brilliant. Well, you referenced the podcast. We'll put a link in the in the post here so people can check that out. Please do check that out. And just to finish off, as regards to the new release, you mentioned about it earlier. What is the timescale we can expect? When will things start to drop videos or releases, or is it just a matter of when we get it done, we'll get it out?
Good question. Good question. I'm trying to get the first piece of this trilogy out before the end of the year, because it's done now. We just need to edit it.
Yeah.
And so we're in September. So I'm like, pray for me that it gets, but it's done. It's done. So we just have to edit it. And it's beautiful. Like, because there's these two incredible ballet dancers, contemporary ballet dancers. It's amazing. Like, what they did was amazing. So I want you to see it, and I wanted to showcase the incredible talent in South Africa. There's so much creative talent. So the whole team was South African. So it's not only about me sort of sharing the music, it's also about sharing the incredible talent that's out there.
Yeah, wow, that's great. Well, we've touched on beauty and truth and justice. We've gone all the way around, and we're really looking forward to hearing the new music, Matshidiso. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye.
Bye.